Welcome to the 6th episode of Spawn Respawn, a weekly podcast dedicated to gaming news, culture, and nostalgia. Of course, I am Dylan Smith, and I'm joined by Elliot Porter.
Hey.
Mitchell Barnsley.
You already know it's good.
And Kat Sheraton.
Hey, what's up?
Yep, we've got another huge episode coming up for this week in terms of some gaming news. This time, we didn't have to come up with topics all on our own because there was plenty of news to talk about. So that was definitely a plus. So in this awesome episode, we are going to be checking out some issues in the gaming industry related to things like PTSD and actual walkouts from different employees in certain development studios. We're also going to be checking out Capcom's recent successes, as well as a little bit of an update in regards to what we talked about last week when it comes to the Australian government's stance on the development of video games. We're also going to be checking out the state of play from PlayStation and seeing what new stuff is coming out as well. So, another huge episode, but who wants to kick us off with... First of all, actually, the first topic we're going to be discussing is what games we've been playing this week. And I think Kat has been playing something pretty cool. You might want to tell us about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, boy. I've been playing a little bit of Neon Drive this week. So for those of you who have never touched the game, it is a rhythm game.
Which is all of us.
Yeah, all of you guys.
Yeah.
All of you guys are plebs.
Never.
It's a cool rhythm game and, vaporwavy themed, which is my
course.
jam.
I was going to say, you love
You
that.
freaking know it. You know what I found out at the end of the game? Quick interjection. You play as a car.
Right.
To
Oh, really?
to move
Well, you
around.
only played that at the end. You
Neon
only worked that out at
Drive.
the end of the game.
You know what I worked out at the end is you can change your number plate to say something. I played the entire game with the default number plate. I was like,
What was
Now you
your
have to
number
play it
plate
again.
be?
I changed it to cat. You can only have 4 letters, so
Oh, mine would have just
Yeah.
been fat.
Both of those have 3 letters. What are you doing?
yeah, exactly right. Either way, amazing game. There's 9 stages, I believe. The 8th stage, or the second last stage, if I've got the stages wrong, was my favorite. The music was so good, and I turned into a flying car. So
So is it kind of like Guitar Hero, but you're a car? Like...
I mean, in Guitar Hero, you want to hit the things that are coming towards you.
Ah,
in
so
Neon
you,
Drive,
like,
you want to avoid
dodge
them
everything.
most of the
Yeah,
time,
right.
The
you
cool-
don't... No, continue.
I was going to say, the cool thing is that it's like you're trying to dodge it, and it kind of is like Guitar Hero the way it's coming at you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I
But
meant.
then
yeah.
it evolves and it changes perspective entirely.
Yeah.
Like it'll change from you driving forward and avoiding obstacles to you like literally going into a side-scroll
Side-scroller,
view
and you're
it
a
becomes a
robot.
shooter. So
Mad.
like a bullet hell in some instances. Is
Yeah,
that right? What
true.
the
You've got
hell?
to, instead of avoiding the things that come towards you, you've got to shoot the right one, because
Yeah.
otherwise it'll in one of the levels, there's like an asteroid, and if you don't shoot it, it's got like light beams pouring up and down. So if you don't shoot it, you run into a light beam and you die. In other ones, it turns into like a side scroller where you're a nice mecha and you got to like jump and duck.
Cool.
In the one that was my favorite, instead of being like a flat plane, it turned into like one of those circular ones where you got to move around the whole circle. So instead of having 4
yeah.
lanes, it's got like 8 or 12 or
Yeah.
so. So that was pretty good.
Cool.
The music is so good. There was one point I remember when I was playing it and I was like, I just want to look at the background right now because they change all the time as
Yeah.
well. And it's in time with the music, obviously, being a rhythm game. And it looks so good. I was like, I don't know where to focus.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. I got incredibly annoyed at it though. I'm not a ragey player, but I screamed in that game. I was just like, what am I doing? I lost my mind. I only finished, so each of the levels is in a cabinet, like an arcade cabinet. I only completely finished one of them because it has 3 modes, which is, normal, hard, and insane. And I finished one of them, but man, I finished the first one, so
Yeah.
the easiest one. It was so hard. There was this... Oh, the first one has cars in it, and there's one part where you're looking at it top down instead, and the cars are the bars that you're supposed to avoid, but they speed up and slow down. So you're like, it's fine, I can go up here, and then another car comes from the side and boxes you in and murders you. I was like,
Okay.
and there was another part in that same level where you change perspective and you end up driving. So you're flying through the air and there's all these lanes of traffic that you're driving in, regular type. Then you change perspective and you start driving down through, say you're driving on like the Z axis, but there are cars that are driving on the X and Y axis. And you've got to avoid them. But because they're moving and there's no like lanes that you can see, you just got to dodge left and right. Oh, it was so hard. It was
wow.
so hard. I almost cried, legit. It was so hard. But it was really, really fun.
Cool.
And if you don't care about trying to perfect anything or do it on the insane mode, you'll
Yeah.
have a much better time.
Fair
Or
enough.
if you're good at that type of game, because I'm definitely not.
On Steam? Is it on?
Yes.
Just on Steam? Is it on?
It's
Yeah,
on
it's on
PlayStation as
PS4.
well.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I checked it out today. It's $15.95 in Australia.
Oh, that's pretty
I
good.
bought it for $5 on Steam.
Oh,
Well,
sweet.
I'm not buying it on PlayStation.
Yeah.
It was $5.
Good
It
thing I
was
didn't
on
buy it.
sale, but it was like a weekend sale, so I think it probably rotates pretty frequently on and off, as most of the Steam games do. They normally
Yeah.
pop around pretty
All I can
frequently.
think of right now is the like scene from Meet the Spartans. If anyone remembers the movie, where it's just like Britney Spears all like hunched over. She's like, bargain shopping, yeah. Just it come up to my mind when you were like $5. I was like,
Yeah, it is a third of the price.
That's bargain shopping.
It is some bargain shopping. It was a third of the
What
price.
a deep cut of a
That is-
reference.
yeah.
I was gonna say, I was confused where you were going for a second, but you're right. I did have a bargain.
If I just said that line, I don't know how many of you would have gotten that.
No
man.
one.
Not me.
Absolutely.
No,
exactly.
We would have just
No.
thought you were coming up with your own cool new thing, Mitchell. You could have taken all the credit.
Cannot take credit for that.
Oh man! If you look at any of the gameplay of Neon Drive, though, I swear to God, it looks like a wallpaper generator.
It
it's
looks
like
so
every
good.
frame just looks so dope. Like it's so cool with the way that the style is all set out and how you're driving on like these neon like coated roads. I
Yeah,
think it's kinda cool.
there was one level as well where like there's a ship floating above you and it's shooting lasers and you got to dodge the lasers that are coming at you. Like
dog.
it is nuts. Like every level was unique and fun. And they all looked amazing, and it has a bunch of free wallpapers and things in it for you as well. So it is a wallpaper generator in a way. Has a bunch of free stuff. I think it has like the songs and things that you can potentially download as well. Maybe wrong, but
Cool.
definitely some cool.
Sounds like
wallpapers.
something I'd really like, but I think I need a break from like rage-inducing video games right now.
Yeah, I honestly really, really don't get ragey at games at all.
Yeah.
Like I get
Games that are just
yeah.
difficult, you know? So like
I just
the last 3 games I've played are just like, oh, I need to play something that's chill.
easy.
So-
I'm thinking about
what-
playing what's that Edith Finch game or whatever? It's just like
What
a walking-
Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah, I downloaded that the other day. I'm like, I think I need something chill for a while. So
I was gonna say why
what have you been
what
playing?
makes you think
Yeah.
that you should get away from ragey games?
okay, because like I finally finished Sekiro.
Boom! There it is.
It only took me almost 2 months. So good though. It was so satisfying to finally beat the last boss. And
No, you're never gonna play it again.
nah, I'm like, oh, I might start New Game Plus as soon as I finished it. I was like running around, like I had a walkthrough out. I was running around getting some like prayer beads that I missed that were in the open world, and trying to like prepare myself as best as possible for New
For
Game
next.
Plus. Yeah,
You will absolutely smash out the whole start.
and that's kind of why I
Game
want
Plus.
to do New Game Plus. So I'm like, I feel accomplished for a reason.
You're like, I've advanced myself. I'm
Yeah.
better than before.
yeah. So pretty stoked there. But like, you know, I've just the last 3 games I've played. Yeah, Sekiro, Katana Zero, and Mortal Kombat are all like real skill based, and
Yeah.
like I'm like yelling at the game and like getting stressed out, and I just need to play something chill now. So I'm happy that's it.
Yeah, like
game's over.
I don't think I have ever yelled at a game before.
Yeah,
but
I yell
Neon
a
Drive it came out, so
But you used to play like, or you do play heaps of Dark Souls games and FromSoft
Yeah.
games, and you've never yelled at the screen from that.
no.
I yell at
normally I
FIFA,
get
guys.
like internally frustrated. I'm just like, or I'm just like I'll scream no in the heat of the moment, but I don't scream at the game. Whereas during Neon Drive, I was like,
I'm gonna kill you.
yeah, I was like, I don't know if I want to repeat what I said because it'll just be a 15-second beep. But like, it was pretty bad. Like I was just losing my mind. I was like, how can I not get through this? Anyways, moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, good stuff.
Nice.
Might be worth a look.
Check it out once you've chilled out a little
Yeah,
bit.
once my heart rate's gone down in 3 months' time.
What have you been playing, Mitch?
I've been playing Hunt Showdown. So for those that have never even heard of Hunt Showdown or even seen Showdown, I'll try and describe it as quick as I can. Basically, you can play solo or you can play with another friend. It's purely online based. You just have you got bounties that you basically track down. You can find clues around the map. There's a ability you kind of like go into like sort of like dark vision. Basically you see like these clues off in the distance. 2 maps at the moment. There was only 1 for the meantime. The game is still in early access, so it's just kind of the
You have
devs are taking
bounties. You said there's bounties. What are their bounties for?
the bounties are basically like monsters, right? So you
Oh,
got
they're monsters.
There you
Right.
go.
yeah, so different types of monsters. Like
There it is.
Oh, I thought it was like hunting wildlife.
No, it's like a
absolutely not.
supernatural hunter.
Ah, cool,
We just
cool.
got Mitch playing Buck Hunt over
Yeah.
here. all
Hey,
week.
No, you're in the bayou and you're walking around trying to defeat the
monsters.
big
you're just trying to
uglies.
get everyone
Okay.
to say the
In the
last
deep
ha.
south.
Yeah.
He's making it do everyone to the last.
You're
yeehaw.
delivering people's last ha's. Basically, imagine like a supernatural bayou monster hunter type game, but your team and other teams are in the same world, and you can kill off other players to get the bounty before they manage to kill the monster and receive the rewards.
God, I
Okay.
love the word bayou.
Bayou.
Down the
In the
bayou.
bayou.
The deep south.
So you've been
Cool.
playing a bit of that?
Yeah, just basically what
Digging it?
Kat was saying. Yeah, so
Yeah, nice.
it got an update recently with like a new monster in it called the Assassin. Thing like forms like it's just,
just
without
Edward Kenway.
Was
it just
Ezio?
turns into like a giant, like not giant bug, but it forms into like it's obviously a humanoid, but it can like disperse into like thousands of like cockroaches and
Oh
bugs.
my god, that's
And
horrible.
like zips around like this like tiny little like space, and every now and then it'll like come up. We'll try and get behind you. It'll form up, have like its bones come out of its arms, and it like tries to like stab you. If it stabs you, it like does like bleeding damage on top of like large amounts of damage as
Yeah,
well.
inserts cockroaches into your veins.
So is it
Not quite like that, but anyway,
is it kind of like Monster Hunter where you're tracking it and
it's not not like Monster Hunter at all.
Apart
Like
from the fact that you're hunting a monster.
you're hunting a
so-
monster.
That's it.
But,
But
okay,
what, like
so when you
but you fight the monster and you kill it in one like interaction with it? Or
yeah,
do-
you just
okay.
it's
Just like a big boss.
I saw people thinking like there's like a third person sort of like weird like long ass giant fight with a monster. No, like it's if you go up against like a spider, like generally like shotguns and fire will like definitely get rid of it quite quickly.
Okay, cool.
Although there are some really, really powerful weapons like close to like level 100 that literally will just almost like two-shot it. So it's just but amongst like trying to get the clues and kill the monsters as well, like Kat said, you do compete against other players as well. And you can play it a bit like sort of you can kind of do the waiting game, or you can be aggressive. Like you could go find a clue, not grab the clue. You can wait for another player to come and grab that clue because they see it as well. You can kill them, then grab the clue, and then head off with the boss. Or you can find the boss's location, wait for the players to get to that boss, and once they've like started fighting the boss, or just after they've killed the boss, you can then kill them,
Yeah.
and then grab the bounty.
Yeah, cool. Good times.
Yeah, definitely good times. It's kind of cool to have the maps laid out too. So obviously while you're looking for these monsters, you've got like zombies as well and everything in between that you can kind of fight. There's like mechanics where there's like one might be a set of crows nearby. If you go near the crows, it lets them they'll fly off, and you can see it in the distance. But there's players over there. Like you saw the
yeah.
crows go and fly off. So yeah, with the new update, it's been really, really fun.
Good times.
Yeah, nice.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Well, moving into some like hot topics of the gaming industry.
Hold on, what about you?
Yeah, right, mate. What have you been playing? Don't try to skim on past.
I was just trying to skim on past.
Don't-
I was. You got me.
Don't do it.
I was mainly because I haven't been playing anything new. Went back and played a few older games.
That's okay.
When I say older, I mean Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah.
Which
Speaking
was,
of the bayou.
The Bayou, in the Deep South. Yeah, no, I just wanted to go back because it's like I'd played it, finished it, adored it. Obviously, everyone knows how good Red Dead Redemption 2 is. But after playing it, I put it down. I didn't play it again at all. So what I kind of forgot was that I jumped straight back into my game save where I had, all the good weapons, all that stuff.
All
and I
the
just
stuff.
walked around and just said howdy to everyone. It was great. I forgot that you can just walk up to anyone and straight up just be like, fellers.
Yes, that's so good.
Fellas.
Good morning there. Good morning, miss. Like
So
stuff
that's
like
all
that.
you're doing. You're not even like
Yep.
doing anything, just saying hello to
I
people.
didn't kill anyone.
He's
I-
going
so
to
sick.
Midwest Simulator.
Yeah,
Like,
That's it. So then I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. I've said howdy to everyone in Saint Denis,
Yeah.
and that's a big town. So I just started the game again.
Oh, nice.
and
Yeah.
started playing from scratch. And I was like,
cool.
God, this is a masterpiece. It
It's
is
so
so good. Just the characters, just being reintroduced to their arc, and starting from the start, knowing how it ended. It was very cool.
Yeah,
in terms
nice.
of like, I guess, picking up on some of the foreshadowing that was
Yeah.
in place for the storyline.
I love that stuff.
Right? And also being inspired by your review of Mortal Kombat 11, I went back and played a bit of Mortal Kombat 10.
Sick.
It is awesome. It is so much fun to play. The story is ridiculous, and that is exactly how it should be.
Is it like well done? Like, is the story like well shot and stuff like the new one?
I think
I haven't played 10.
The new one, it looks to me, and I haven't played 11, but I think the cinematography looked a little bit better in 11.
I would
However,
assume so.
like, okay, so were there any quick time events in the cutscenes in 11?
No.
Well, there are in 10, and I don't hate it because it's cool. Because obviously, like the choreography of the fighting is awesome, and you watch it, and you're like, oh, like watching like these foot soldier dudes get their heads cut off and stuff like that. Just the game
love
opens
that.
up,
Yeah.
really interestingly. However, the first person you play as is Johnny Cage.
Yeah, it's always the boring humans first.
Right?
Like, always.
Yeah.
In the new one, it's Cassie Cage, so it's like, yeah.
The daughter. I do want to play the new one though, but anyway, that was what I've been playing recently.
Thanks,
I won't
Dylan.
go into such detail. Kat, you dragged me into it. You made me have to say.
We just care about
That's good to know.
how you been doing, Dylan.
Through the games that I've been playing. You know
Yeah.
what? Fair enough. I don't blame you. But back to my original point. We should be talking about the new news that's been coming out.
news.
And I think, Kat, you might be taking us through this one as well. Is that
Yeah, I
correct?
think Elliot and I are going to be doing a little bit of
Ooh.
sharing on this one.
Double team in this
Yeah, I think
one.
I might
You can
start,
kick us off,
start us
baby.
off.
Let's look at the working condition issues in the industry.
So there's lots of talk going around. You've seen these articles about Anthem, about Rockstar, about even going back to CD Projekt Red about crunch and all this stuff. But there's a lot of issues in relation to working conditions for game developers. And this week, huge kind of first in the industry is the first walkout
Ever.
in protest, ever.
For the gaming industry, crazy.
From Riot Games, creators of League of Legends. Am I right in
Yeah,
that?
yeah. And
Huge,
many
so
dollars worth.
yeah. So they've been in the news before for some issues with like sexual harassment and not great things.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, so this is around kind of forced arbitration, which I actually didn't know what it was, but unless someone else's explanation is better than mine, it's kind of like the contract they're signing for their job means like any issues that they have within the workplace they can't take it to court.
Yeah.
So it kind of has to be resolved within the company itself, and they're protesting to stop this from happening. So
Yeah, that's my base understanding of it as well.
yeah, I wasn't aware of what that was. I don't know if that's a thing in Australia that it can be
Yeah, that we can
underwritten in
legally
the
do. I don't know.
but
That
it
doesn't
seems
Sounds like some bullshit.
yeah, I agree. And so I've got an article here from Kotaku, always coming up with the articles, from Cecilia D'Anastasio and Nathan Grayson. So apologies if I butchered your name, Cecilia. So essentially, I'll give it a bit of a rundown, saying over 150 discontented Riot Games employees walked out of the League of Legends publisher's office in Los Angeles today to protest the company's stance on forced arbitration. Standing in a parking lot on Riot's campus, employees held picket signs and gave impassioned speeches. And essentially, due to previous issues with the studio, there's apparently quite like a bro culture and
Yeah.
some claims of sexual harassment and stuff like that. And I think the employees are having issues taking some of these things to court because of this forced arbitration. So they've done a walkout. Apparently, the Dublin studio, I think it was Dublin, like wing of the company, also did one. There was only like 18 employees, but they've also done it kind of to stand with the ones in LA.
Yeah, so basically I think there was 5 or so instances where people were trying to bring up sexual harassment cases, and I know at least 2 of them were when they were being taken to court got removed by the arbitration. Like Riot was like, nah, you can't sue us because you signed forced arbitration through your
Yeah.
contract. So you. which is pretty bad. Like that's
brutal,
pretty,
man.
pretty freaking rotten, right? Like, whew.
And I think it just like goes to show that there is this weird thing in the gaming industry that without unions to kind of have the employees' backs, there's all these dodgy kind of practices going on. And it's good that this is like starting to come to light because hopefully it, you know, obviously with crunch, that's a huge thing that is like constantly in the gaming news. But other issues kind of aren't, there's not a light shed on them. So it's interesting. I think that they've gone and done it. And apparently, you know, obviously probably for PR reasons, management are like, yeah, that's fine. You can do that. And I think they're saying they're going to take forced arbitration out of future contracts, but they want it removed from their current contracts at the moment because they don't feel like they're protected. So
yeah, I'd also like to just clear up something that I just said that was wrong. So it turns out there's 5 current or former employees suing the company for violating the Equal Pay Act because they're women and getting paid less, not for sexual harassment. And 2 of them, I was correct on that number at least, have been moved into a different like space so that the whole, due to the contract that they signed, there's no jury involved and they can just kind of sort it out on the side and not have any input from a jury at all.
Jeez.
Which is pretty bad.
It seems a bit dodgy.
Kind of sounds kind of slave labor-y in a way.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. They're making money, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're
but
making
at the
money,
same time,
but
not having equal pay and not being able to have any legal rights to fight that in court.
It's pretty bad.
Ridiculous.
They
Unacceptable.
All of the people that walked out as well are like, we are expecting to hear, like they have like company meetups, obviously, like meetings, and they're like, if we don't hear any advancements on this by the next meeting, we have these milestones that we've planned and things that we're going to do. Obviously, they're not going to say what they are because then they'd be able to, you know, negate the effects that it causes. But they have things put in place that they are willing to continue to push for it if nothing changes quickly. So that's pretty interesting.
I think it's good that these things are happening because hopefully it means change will happen in the industry. Like, I'd be happy to wait longer for video games that I love if it meant the people making them are treated properly, you know, like rather than having a release date like locked in and then everyone crunching and mental
Crying.
health mental health being a huge issue, physical health being a huge issue, like
Pay being an issue.
yeah, like release a game later and
'Cause there's not a lot
treat
of-
your developers with respect.
Yeah, there's not a lot of overtime protections or anything in there as well. Obviously, going along with crunch time, like there's a lot of, I assume, because I'm not working in the game industry, but like salaried positions, so it's like doesn't matter what hours you worked.
Yeah,
You,
and also
you're getting this much
contracts.
money. Yeah,
Like people who are contracted who, if they don't do the work that they need to do, they can just be like laid off
Yeah,
because
it's like,
there's no yeah.
That is so insecure in terms of like your career, you know, being like, I could be let go tomorrow or I could work, you know, like what, 15 hours straight or something like that without getting any money, possibly without getting any more money than I should have before. Like, that's
And
crazy.
I think even like last week or something, there was reports from Epic that the guys working, like the team working on Fortnite, were also in like a constant state of crunch because they're constantly bringing out new content. Like, you know, it used to be obviously a game would be developed, it would ship, and then the developers would probably take some time off before going into a new project. Whereas now, obviously, it's like day one patch, and for single player games, even a day one patch. But for games like Fortnite or like, you know, any live service, they're constantly creating content. Fortnite is never stops. But you think like there has to be so many people working on that. Why are they still suffering from this crunch all the time for months and months on end? I think it's just insane. And if that's happening,
they're competing against bigger, or Apex Legends being one of them, like a battle royale that's just come out of nowhere. It's just like they've got to fight it, and they're trying to keep the numbers that they have been establishing.
trying to
but
be
like
relevant.
well, like
hire
Apex,
more staff.
Yeah, like I don't get it. That's what I was saying like the other week about live services. Like hire more stuff, stop hurting people and your company. But like Apex hasn't, like, I don't know how many updates they've released since the game came out, but it's not many. It's It's
I've
the opposite of what you've come to expect from live service games, and they are getting absolutely destroyed by their player base for it, and their player base is like, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
And then their like spokespeople are coming out and being like, dude, this game has been out for a couple of months. Like, give us time.
Yeah,
Like,
plus
we
they're
are
not
a
an-
small-ish, not necessarily a smallish,
But they're
team,
not
like,
huge. They're not your
They're not-
thousands of people.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
they're
it.
only a couple of people. They need to eat and sleep at some time. Like,
Yeah.
calm down.
I know,
And
people
that
are
sort of
so-
entitlement doesn't help.
Yeah, and it's like hypocrisy as well. It's like, we want. Well, I guess people like us want good games and want the developers to be treated properly. But so many people,
Just want it straight away.
content after content after content and don't really care. And then they complain if it doesn't happen. But then the developers are getting destroyed for it, like physically, mentally, and then on the internet because they're not doing the job that they are expected to do. It's insane. So hopefully these news articles that are like almost constantly happening are going to cause
Some sort of change. Some
Yeah.
unionization of any
it's
sort would be
insane
incredibly
that there's
helpful.
no union for what I read today, a $200 billion a year industry.
Yeah.
Like,
That makes no sense.
It's
No.
crazy.
There's no unions at all.
no.
No union.
There's
I should say.
there's a union. I think it's called West Coast something. I don't know because obviously we're not Americans, but it incorporates a lot of different arts, and they tried to help out with video game stuff as well, but they didn't really.
Get it.
Yeah, like they just kind of, they're like, we'll pull that into our basket and just leave that there. Like it wasn't the proper investment that unionization needs. So
There's like no collective bargaining or anything. So it's kind of at the whims of these giant corporations.
behemoths.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously some are doing the right thing, but you hear about the negative stuff more so, obviously, in the news instead of the positive. So
Yeah.
People who love their jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't see that
Well, I
in the
mean,
headline.
it would be pretty hard, like, I imagine, to love your job if that's what's happening to you.
Well,
Oh,
Insomniac, apparently, like a lot of workers came out and said, like, it's an amazing place to work. They're not like they don't have to deal with stuff like that with crunch, and they were rated highly in job satisfaction and stuff, and they create great games. Like, there's no reason why these studios have to be like this to create like live services. So many of them just are terrible. So clearly that's not
They
working.
just want to,
Like,
like crunch time on your employees is clearly going to make their output significantly worse.
Yeah, I
Why
think
would you
so.
want to
Yeah.
do that? You know what else
insane.
has come out though on the negative side, and the we need more help for developers is Mortal Kombat 11, and the developers are rapidly developing PTSD instead of developing the games.
Oh my god.
Pretty bad. Pretty
Bad.
freaking rough. Like, so
Tell
we've
us
got
about
this another once again Kotaku article by Joshua Rivera.
thanks, Kotaku.
Thanks, Kotaku. You're doing a stellar job out there. Coming out and saying devs are having a horrible time, and that they will take in 1 month they've gone from living your normal regular life to having shocking PTSD because every day they walk into their office, and from reading the article they're like, yeah, creating brutalities is hard, but it's not the creating and developing of the actual brutality that's the worst bit. The worst bit is that you need to look at source
The
imagery.
research, yeah.
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 And so, whoever, I can't remember the gentleman's name, and unfortunately, I don't have the time to cycle through the article to find out what his name was, or if he was named. I can't remember if he was anonymous. But basically, the idea was you get up from your desk to go to the bathroom, and you'd walk past, obviously, all these other people that are looking at source material. There's, Johnny on the left looking at people hanging themselves. There's, Samara on the right looking at cows getting dismembered. Here's someone over here looking at just butchered people,
Oh my god.
horrible. And you just walk through the office and they said they were talking about the point where you walk through the office and you see people looking at just blood stains and all this horrible stuff, and you're like, yeah, that's normal. And they're like, that's when you know that things are wrong. That's when they know that the new person has hit the point where they're going to start having problems, is when they stop reacting to what they're seeing. And there was employees that said, they went home and they couldn't look at their dog because every time they looked at their dog, they just saw the dog's insides because of all the research they've been doing, and they were terrified to look at their animal because they were just seeing horrible things. Like,
My question is that, like, Mortal Kombat 11 wasn't the first game to feature high fidelity, high resolution violence. So I'm like, what is it about this particular one? Or the way that
I think maybe it's just that this has come out now.
Yeah.
You know,
Someone's finally spoken about it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Thing is,
And I'm sure it's not just Mortal Kombat. Sorry. Go
Yeah, no, honestly, this entire time, for me, I've honestly just thought in my head that it was just like, they were just like, it's just like an idea that popped in their head. They were just like, yo, what if we made I'll just use an example. Scorpion, he like grab the guy's head and he just like, well, actually, I'm pretty sure it's an actual like fatality, but rips the guy's head off. Like, that just makes sense to me. Like, you just come up with it on the spot. You're just like, oh, right,
But I guess
let's
they
do
have
this.
to-
You just said like about probably 30
100
times.
times.
Oh, cool. Anyway, but moving on.
I think they need to, you know, in that situation, know what a spinal cord would look like if it was hanging off the end of like
That's
bottom of
basically what
someone's
they're
neck
saying
and-
is the worst part. Like, they're like, it's not the frame by frame animation that I have to do because I'm creating that and I know that's fake. But I have to look at someone's loose spine dangling to be able to figure out how to render that properly.
because some
And
of
that's
it,
pretty
done.
bad.
It must have been done before.
It's like,
What resources
please.
do they have to use? Oh, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And there's like developers that are like, I tried to not sleep for days on end because whenever I'd sleep, I'd just have horrific nightmares, and it would like they were getting so distressed that they would stop themselves from sleeping to avoid it and then just go back to work and like not
God.
sleeping. Like, and like it's terrible because in the article they talk about how when they went for the interview for the job, they're like, it's a little violent, and that's all the warning that they got. Like, if you've been creating Mortal Kombat games for however long they've been out, you know that this is probably going to have some sort of effect on your employees, right? You have to know that, and you have to know by the people that are coming in and out of your doors what it's doing to people, and you just go, it's a little violent. You may have a problem with that, I don't know. Like,
seems insane, doesn't it?
I would have thought they'd have some kind of like mandatory counseling sessions or something like that. But
Totally.
probably if they had a union.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
That's a
Right?
good point.
you hear that?
Yeah.
Gotta make that union.
like it says in here that you start to blame yourself for being shitty or weak or spineless when you start like getting affected by it. So it's not just these things are fucking you up because you're looking at dead people all day and you're looking at murder case files and things to see what dead people look like.
God.
But also then everyone else is doing it and they're a part of the team, so you want to be a part of the team, so you feel like a letdown when you're feeling bad about it, and it's just like this vicious cycle where it's just like you need to give your developers time to breathe. Like, your artists need time to not look at dead people for 40 hours a week
Yeah. Or if they're crunching, 70.
or more.
For every hour of blood and guts, there needs to be an hour of puppies.
Yeah, they should just have like a puppy room, or like
But then they're too scared to look at their dogs.
you're right, they're too scared to look at dogs. All they see is insides.
Well, they
they
see
need
a
like
meat room. It's gross.
Oh.
they need like a room that's just full of like bean bags and rainbows, like the most over the top like childhood
Oxygen
room.
bar.
Yeah, just like, here, would you like some soda and fairy floss? Everything's gonna be okay. Like,
Oh no!
oh, pretty brutal.
I can imagine the soda and fairy floss room over there at what's the
At
deal?
Netherrealm.
Netherrealm.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting take. We should let them know. Ed Boon should hear about this.
Yeah. So, couple of
Moving
things.
on to some lighter
Some
news.
positive, some positive stuff. So, I mean, Kat and Dylan, you guys would know this firsthand. Capcom have been killing it.
Killing it.
In
Yeah,
the
they
last, kind of over 2 years now since
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7.
Yeah,
And
That only 2 years?
I think so.
yeah, I think it was like end of January 20. What year is it? 2017. Yeah, it would have been 2017.
How time moves.
Because last year was Monster Hunter World, and this year was
Resident
DMC and Resident Evil 2. So, on that note, PC Gamer reports in Bordeaux reports that Capcom hit record high profits last year thanks to its run of amazing games, which is pretty awesome.
And Monster Hunter World became its best-selling game ever.
Yeah, and like obviously has had huge like expansions or like added characters. You've got like Aloy on PS4, and then you've got the whole Witcher thing, which is amazing.
You know what else? They're like, Monster Hunter World is not a live service. But here's a bunch of updates and events and things like that you can enjoy.
Yeah, and it seems like that's almost
excellent.
a good way to do a live service. I don't look like... Okay, so I haven't played it. It's on Game Pass now, so I'm totally going to play
100%
it.
do. It's really, really good.
Yeah, but I don't look at that game as a live service. It doesn't seem... I guess it's because it's not like filled with crappy business practices or like Activision or EA's like filthy mitts all over it.
There's no microtransactions. There's just small purchases.
Oh my God.
Now, I'm guessing there are like microtransactions in Monster Hunter.
I don't think so. I don't think I ever had the opportunity or...
There's no store. Or...
No, like I can't remember any of like the NPCs being an actual storefront. Like,
Because it has like a story. Like I know the story is mainly just you're hunting stuff, but it has a campaign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It does. It says costumes and gestures and extra character slots.
Okay.
Stuff like that, but nothing
Who
actually
needs extra
gameplay
character
relevant.
slots? You get a bunch anyway, and you make the costumes that you're using.
Yeah, it's probably like skins or whatever.
Oh, I think there's maybe like a piggy costume and stuff that you can get and stuff as well. But most of the stuff is just like limited time events, like the Witcher one or like the Alloy one. You got to kill a specific monster.
Oh, so they're limited time.
Yeah, limited time. So they'll come out and they repeat them though.
Oh, okay.
Well, I believe a lot of them have been repeated. Not sure about the Alloy one or if the Witcher one will be repeated, but some of the other stuff has.
Yeah.
But basically, you go out and you do hunts. You gather the materials from doing the hunts multiple times, and then you craft the different body parts for Alloy, like your arms, your legs, whatever. And when you put it all together, then you become Alloy.
Yeah.
But,
That's cool. I'm definitely going to play it.
Never ever would even consider needing to purchase anything for that game. Like there's no pay to win. I guess if it's all pay for extra cosmetics and stuff like that, not so bad.
I mean, cosmetic microtransactions, I don't know.
I don't think you need them in Monster Hunter World
so
anyway.
Yeah.
Like the outfits that you make are so over the top and ridiculous and beautiful anyway. Who needs a microtransaction? Nobody.
I mean, I did pay microtransactions in Resident Evil 2. I bought one thing.
Yeah.
And that was the original soundtrack that they held hostage for like $6. I was so annoyed at.
Soundtracks are...
I'm so weird about
like
microtransactions where it's like a costume pack or something like that. Like, that's cool. And say in the 360 generation, it was like those things would be in the marketplace, not in the game itself. And it felt so much less like shifty. Like, I would buy all the costume packs for, say, or like outfit packs or armor packs or appearance packs for Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 and 3 I think had them, but you bought them from the store, like the Microsoft store, like the Xbox store within the dashboard, not within the game itself. And I find that seems way less like egregious and like pushing you to make a purchase within the game. Like Persona 5 has tons of these outfit packs, and I don't see that as a microtransaction, even though it literally is a microtransaction. Like it's a
small purchase.
Yeah, it's a tiny little add-on to the game, but the way it's sold from the PS4 like menu rather than like from the game menu rather than in the game seems way less like, you know, scummy and
well, especially when it's in the game and like you go to talk to an NPC and they're like, here's what you could have, as opposed to it just being off to the side.
And you're not using like this premium currency. Like I hate that whole premium currency thing. Yeah. Like, yeah, you can earn it in game, but like, I don't know. It's always like real dodgy EA stuff. And I mean, that's a bit of a side note to this, but I just don't feel like it seems as dodgy when it's, even though Monster Hunter, it could be in-game anyway, but like costumes and stuff, just sell them outside of the game so then people don't have to look at a marketplace and be tempted.
It looks like all the Monster Hunter ones are sold. From what I remember, I can't remember anywhere that you actually had to use real money inside the game. I think they're all in the PlayStation Store because I played on PlayStation.
Yeah. And I think that seems way less.
And it's like,
scummy.
It's not stuff that I'd ever use. Like, sell me a gesture, I will never use that in the game. Like, I will use the wave gesture, and that's it. Like, there's no time. I gotta fight this monster. I can't send you a sticker. I gotta smack shit. Get out of here.
But coming up next, we do have a bit of an update from what we talked about last week, as I mentioned before. We were talking about how there's just no bloody opportunities in Australia.
I'm actually really excited about
making
this.
video games.
We are a political podcast once again.
That is true. That is true. Welcome back to the pod
Spawn Relay.
podcast.
The Polcast, here we go.
That's it. We're going to get involved.
Election's
That's
coming up soon, boys.
Oh my
We
God.
need you to vote for
6
the Spawn
days away.
Respawn Party. That's it. We're gonna take Australia by storm. It's gonna be great. Yeah, no. Basically, what we were talking about, how there's no opportunities whatsoever in Australia at the moment in terms of government funding or a government supported
Support.
industry. And at this point, we used to have it apparently. So here's a little thing from Alex Walker over at Kotaku.
Good old Kotaku.
Pretty much,
Friends of the show.
they are friends of Oh, yeah, well, pretty much. But basically, the Australian Labor Party wants to bring back the Australian Interactive Games Fund with $25 million. Like a nice big fund to start to basically, help push along the development or creation of certain studios
Yeah.
to make video games in this beautiful country of ours.
They've
Oh,
just
yeah.
realised how big of an industry it is, and now that they realise they're not allowed to make any more coal plants, they're like, we're gonna get more money in.
And that's going to create jobs in Australia.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I hope it does.
I really hope
Well,
it
it
does. though.
should create jobs in
That's the
Australia.
plan.
You know what else though? We'll probably unionise. Australia's pretty good at
We
that.
are pretty good at that.
Don't
That's for
count
sure.
on it. Not for the games industry.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Basically, it's a federal investment program, and essentially at the Labor policy launch in Melbourne, literally yesterday, Labor announced that they'll be reinstating the fund to the tune of $25 million if elected. So it was.
And they also support some other stuff too, isn't it? Isn't there like a whole bunch they're putting into live music and things as well?
Yeah, it's a part of the arts
Separate?
policy document which they've done. It's a 24-page document that includes the fund, like how the funding of the ABC and the SBS will work, as well as local screen industries, and a separate $20 million fund for supporting live music venues.
Yeah.
So
That's so good. Like,
live music venues, thank you.
Yeah, really good.
All of that sounds great. Like, just give us back like some like creativity and
Yeah,
culture
seriously.
in this
The
country.
arts.
Instead of just like corporate tax bloody breaks.
Yeah, we've got corporate tax breaks, big business, and coal.
That's it.
There's corporate tax breaks. Why don't the bloody EA have a studio over here? I think they do, but it's obviously
I think it's
like
in
They do
Melbourne.
in Sydney.
it's a
Sydney
feeder
never
kind
mind
of thing.
then.
It just doesn't do its own games. It just helps out with other games. But
fully. Yeah.
No, look, 25 mil is not obviously a huge amount for growing heaps of industry, but
no, but it can definitely help
great
out
starting point.
indie
I hope it
devs.
booms.
Oh, yeah.
I would literally cry of happiness.
So basically, the Australian Interactive Games Fund was first established by Labor under the then Arts Minister Simon Crean in 2013. There were a few developers that came from it, like Defiant Development, Flat Earth Games, Tin Man Games, the Voxel Agents, Iron Helmet Games, Uppercut Games. I don't recognize any of the games.
Yeah,
that
I was
they
going
made.
to say, what sucks about that is I don't know any of those names. And when they put the games they've made on that list, I was like, I've never played or heard of really any of these.
Defiant. They had like a monkey in their logo, I think.
Oh, right.
There you go. That's all.
there
That's
you
all I
go.
know.
The thing is, like back when back in 2013 when this started,
They did Hand of Fate.
hey,
Hand of Fate. They did.
I haven't played that
Never
or
played
heard of it.
Oh, there you go.
At
Never
all.
mind.
There you go. Thanks, Australia. But
Look, I tried for you.
they did. No, I appreciate it.
At
but
least
they
I
described,
recognised one.
They described it as an unmitigated success when they did it, and then they shut it down a year later
Liberal
in
shut it down.
2014. Yes, the Liberal Party shut it down in
Because
2014.
of course they did.
Because why would anyone want to play games that were made by Australians? Apparently, well, at least according to them. But basically, that is huge if they get in government. We are going to be seeing a lot more Australian.
That'd be great.
Games.
I would
keen.
love that.
So that just like, that makes me so happy.
You see a lot of places and institutes and, like I guess universities and stuff teaching game development. And like, what's the point? Just to get a job overseas? To learn everything here? Cool, all right, let's not prop up our own industries. Let's just go and work for a big corporation.
Absolutely. It seems insane. Like,
100%.
and these indie developers that can make amazing games for much less than obviously like AAA games they cost so much money. Like, What did I hear the other day? GTA 5 cost $260 million to develop.
Gee.
That is a lot of money.
That is
Obviously, that's a hell of a game, but that is a huge amount of money.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, totally. What Star Citizen
Especially for
has
uni
cost
guys.
$288 million so
Jesus.
far, and it's not even out of alpha. So.
Still keeps
Then they're
going.
saying it's never coming out, is what they're saying as well.
Yeah.
There's this one guy that I work with who just
Yeah.
never shuts up about it.
I was actually talking to him about it today, and he loves it.
He does.
I hope it-
But
I hope it does
I love hearing about it though, because
Yeah.
he's always showing me cool stuff that's coming out from
Yeah.
it. But I'm like, it's never coming out, dude.
But whereas indie games, they can cost very little to develop, and if this $25 million
Sometimes they just do it and they don't even get to pay themselves. It's just like a side
passion
project.
project, yeah. Well, Katana Zero was made by one dude.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
one
That is
dude.
actually crazy.
Yeah.
I am really, really looking forward to an indie game that's coming out called Ooblets. And it's
Yeah.
made by 2 people. And
Yeah.
they are just like, like the amount of time that they sink into it. Like, I can't believe it. Like,
Another Aussie game that's coming out, Void Bastards, from Blue Manchu. It looks amazing, but you wouldn't know. Like, I haven't really seen much that they're Australian developers, except for on their like press release. It says like studio name Blue Manchu, and in brackets based in Canberra, Australia. So it's like not something that they're really advertising. I guess it doesn't matter that much for them. But they're headed up by a guy who was like one of the lead producers on BioShock 1 and System Shock 2. And I don't know if he's Australian or not, but I know the development team is based here and he's like one of the heads of it. But it looks so sick. It's coming out on PC and Xbox. It's going to be on Game Pass. It's like a real cartoony, it's kind of like a roguelike, but first person like shooter where you have to like go through it's like in space, and you have to go through like these derelict ships and fight off all these enemies and traps and try and get as much loot as you can from those ships and get back to your ship. If you die,
upgrade your ship.
yeah, and you have to try and make it through this nebula of like derelict ships and get as much stuff as you can. It's kind of like a survival-y game. But if you die, just another person is created and you get to go in and be them instead. And there's like different classes. It looks unreal and it seems to be getting quite a bit of traction. So I hope that is something that will be recognized as an Australian game if it is the case that they're, based in Canberra. So
Fully.
yeah, I'm really excited about that. Apparently it might be on Microsoft's E3 stage as well, which is huge. Because it's coming to Game Pass. So, yeah, keen to see more. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, I'm just
Nice.
keen for any support in the gaming industry in
Yeah.
Australia at
Yeah.
all. Like,
I think in that article it says like $200 billion industry.
Yeah.
Like, get on that, Australia. Just get involved in that. Make some of that money.
Literally be stupid not to.
I know.
Now moving on to some of the information about the state of play that came through from PlayStation. Got a bunch of new releases from there. So we've all seen it. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We can all discuss what was a part of state of play.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
this is crap.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now, yes, ma'am. Now, back off what Kat said about Monster Hunter Iceborne.
Yeah, that's it. You got it, boy.
That's it. So, of course, that is the new expansion pack or DLC expansion pack. Would you call
think
it?
they're
It's an
calling it-
expansion, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Because
That's
it's
coming-
huge.
Yeah, and what's that all about?
So, from what I understand, it's basically like another campaign, but like to follow on. It looks like there's whole new areas, but as well that the new campaign, as the evolution of the story continues, affects the older areas as well and adds new monsters or mutates potentially new monsters. Because they say in the trailer, like that the Iceborne event is affecting the creatures in what they're used to. So I don't know if it's a mutation or adding extra stuff. Maybe both. Who knows? But it's a huge expansion. Tons of new monsters. It looks like, obviously, with that comes new outfits and weapons. The Palico looks cute AF as it like shuffles through the snow. New Palico abilities as well, where they can chuck giant green goobs on you, which looked like potentially a revive on the spot, as opposed to a you get carted off and you have to run all the way back sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
Or maybe potentially because he got frozen I don't know if he froze or if he died. It's either a revive or it gets rid of ice on you sort of thing. So heaps of new stuff coming through. It looks massive. And, you know, it's called an expansion as opposed to a DLC. And I don't know if there's like actually like a definition difference between them, but it definitely looks like it's going to be one of the larger DLCs.
I heard
We've seen
that
in a
it
while.
is almost as big as the main game.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
expansion level. Like
Yeah.
that's what you definitely call an expansion.
It's a paid expansion, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like $40 or something.
No, that's fair.
It's not bad, yeah, especially for something that's going to double the game size. Like,
Yeah.
True.
huge. And it comes out for consoles, I think, next month, pretty soon. Maybe not next month, but pretty soon.
I heard the release date today. I can't remember. But yeah, in the next at least few months.
Yeah, really soon. But it comes out on PC later,
Yeah.
which is the same as everything that's been happening with the game. Came out on PC later, then they did the events later, obviously to catch up to what the console guys have been doing, that sort of thing. So
Fair.
looks beautiful as always. The monsters look fab as always.
Seems weird that the PlayStation little like 13-minute or 12-minute state of play, 3 and a bit minutes of that was just Monster Hunter World. Does that seem strange?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like,
Nah.
they said in
Considering
the
that they-
pre-release, like, oh, state of play's coming. We're gonna have like some new announcements and an in-depth look at Medieval. The Medieval trailer was shorter than the Monster Hunter one, and it literally was not an in-depth look in any way.
No, not at
It was
all.
just a trailer.
Also,
and-
it comes out September 6th. But
Okay.
why I was thinking it came out last month is because they write the dates differently. So they,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so, you know,
That's
the month
right, it
was
came
in
up.
the day spot. So that's what confused me. It's coming out in September.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just before Borderlands.
It looks so good though. Like I played it on PlayStation, but I may have to rebuy and just play it on PC because I played PlayStation with some people that I will not be playing with anymore. So I'll just play it on PC and play with some other people instead.
Goal. Well, other than Monster Hunter, there was another game that was announced that was called Riverbond.
Yeah, who cares
And
about that?
I didn't really
It-
give
I-
two shits about
It was
that.
weird. It's like there's a Minecraft like dungeon crawler game coming out soon, and it looks heaps similar to that. It's like that's weird. It's kind of like PlayStation's answer to Minecraft Dungeons or
I
whatever it's
guess,
called.
Yeah.
Seems weird.
Yeah, not
Had a
really
bunch
my
of like
thing.
skins from Guacamelee and some
Even
other
Bastion
weird.
and
Other,
stuff.
Yeah.
other indie games.
You know what I found
Not
interesting? They show off the co-op. It's couch co-op.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like
it's probably both, right?
it specifically just says couch co-op. And I think that would be I think if it was able to be not couch co-op, you'd just say 4-player co-op. Like
Very true.
I think by stating that it's couch co-op, it
Yeah, it
puts
just
a
looks
little bit more
weird.
emphasis on that.
Probably not our cup of tea.
No,
Now, something that may very well be our cup of tea, though. Dude,
maybe.
Predator hunting grounds? Come on, that could be fun.
It actually could be really fun.
The trailer looked great.
It did
It
look
looked
that,
such a
really,
tease.
really
but
good.
it definitely looked a little bit like Evolve in the sense that it's like that 4-player co-op versus one.
Yeah, asymmetrical
Asymmetric. Oh, there we go. What do we call it? Asymmetric. What?
co-op,
Multiplayer.
multiplayer,
Multiplayer.
battle.
Brought
They
to you
used a lot of
by-
words.
Voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Developed by Ilphonic, who did Friday the 13th, which is also asymmetrical multiplayer
Yeah.
game. But this time, instead of them probably having a lot of issues because of the fact that they were a very small team doing an indie game of a huge license that just like obviously is going to get heaps of players, it's published by Sony Interactive,
Yeah.
like Worldwide Studios. So obviously they've got a bit of backing behind them. It's going to be PlayStation only, so they can, I guess, focus down on making it really good for one platform.
Yeah.
And probably have a lot more funding behind them. So I think it could be really fun. I would love like a single player Predator game. That'd be cool. But
Yeah.
this could be really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I might give it a chance when it comes down. I had to see gameplay first, though. I want to see
Totally,
what it's like
yeah.
to be the Predator, because that's make or break right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Although Friday the
There's
13th
some
looked
mad.
pretty fun. Like,
Ooh,
looked
yeah, it
pretty
looked pretty good.
Heard it was hella buggy on launch, though.
Yeah.
But still, cool concept.
Yeah, the hard
Yeah.
thing with the asymmetrical games is is the asymmetricalness though, because it always feels like one side or the other is OP. Like,
Yeah, and is
that
it
balance is hard.
the balance of getting, like, being the soldiers, being fun, and not being like, oh, damn it, I'm not
wish I
Predator.
was Predator.
Yeah, I think that's probably got to be the hardest thing for those kind of games. Like, I never played Evolve, but, you know, at least with that, each character kind of felt like Borderlands. Like, it had its own class with heaps of different abilities for each character, specific to the characters. So I guess for those who may have enjoyed it, I again haven't played it and it didn't do great. You're not just a guy with a gun, you're a guy with all these abilities against this like growing beast over time. So
I did play Dead by Daylight, which is obviously another asymmetrical game.
That
and
looks scary.
yeah, it's pretty good though. And again, though, you're the 4 players that you don't have any abilities at all. But when I played it with a group of friends, we always wanted to be the ones that weren't the monster, because it was so much more fun to be like in a cohesive team trying to like chat about like, you know, what are you doing? Where is he? What's going on? Don't come near me. Ah! As opposed to being the one person who's the monster being like, where are you guys at though? let me hook ya.
Yeah, if you're in a party, you don't want to be the one.
You don't want to
Like
be the one.
Yeah. Oh man.
So yeah, I have high hopes. That didn't have a release date or anything, I don't think.
No, I think it was just
It's going to be a while
fat
away.
teaser.
I'd say next year.
True.
No, it did. It said 2020,
2020.
Oh, it did say 2020.
but not a date.
Yeah. Okay. Which is weird. There's not that much big Sony stuff happening this year. Like, unless Ghosts or Last of Us comes out this year, what Sony games other than Days Gone are even scheduled for this year?
I think they're probably going to do a Days of Play.
Well,
closer.
that's the thing they announced as well in June, which could go. What we were saying last week. What are they going to do around E3? That potentially
Days of Play, and it's probably going to have the big things in it. Like if you've got your Iceborne and your Final Fantasy VII trailer in their slot, but there's other big things that people are looking and looking for.
And neither of those games are Sony's properties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there'll probably be some more appealing and in-depth stuff at Days of Play.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because like I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking, but that State of Play was pretty shit.
There are a few other things on there.
Oh yeah, like
Obviously,
what, like a medieval remake and Away and
Away,
Final Fantasy VII.
Away's so weird. I don't understand.
Animal controls always look really bad to me. Like the way the camera works when you're an animal always seems really bad. And that game, I was just like,
Looked really weird.
I could not be interested in that.
What type
at
of animal
all.
was it? Would it be
Sugar
a flying
glider.
squirrel? A sugar
I think
glider,
they
thank
said
you.
flying squirrel, but it looks like, is that even a thing or is it just a sugar glider?
Sugar glider sounds legit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I like the idea of gliding around and whatnot. But did you change animals? Was that what was happening
No, it
in the
was a
trailer?
lock on. It was like a red dot lock on, because there's one part where they fight, and like I was like, oh, this is a stealth game, and then the sugar glider like punches a bug or something.
Snake or something like that.
And I was like, ooh, it's a fighting game. And then there's a fire tornado. I was like, what is happening?
yeah, I don't know.
What's the goal? The goal is to make it to Sanctuary, whatever that means.
I'll put it this way:
I don't
the
know what I'm
game
looking
didn't
at.
butter my muffin. Like,
Why did they even do this in a State of Play? Like, each one of these could have had its own trailer.
Yeah, just release.
Separate. Like, what? What was the
There was
point of putting
no
Away in
point.
this State of Play? I don't
No.
get it. Or the medieval remake, just do a trailer. People
people
watch
care about it.
trailers.
Yeah, people care about that, and if that popped up, people go and click on it. 'cause,
And
like,
it's going to be a separate trailer anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not going to just be like, no, you can only watch it in State of Play. You're going to see
but
the trailer.
it has a built-in audience based off the nostalgia anyway. So it's like they could have just dropped it. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't a mad fan of it. Did anyone here enjoy the State of Play?
It was like 13 minutes. Like there was.
What's the point?
They talked around the trailers and it meant
it's-
nothing. There was no reason to talk around the trailers. But they did also release that limited edition, or announce the limited edition PlayStation console.
It just looks shit. It's
Who
just a
needs
silver
a PlayStation
console.
at this point?
And it's not a
Just says
Pro, and it's not, and there's nothing special about it. It has the symbols on the top, and it's grey. Like,
Well,
who the hell
it's limited
cares?
edition, Elliot,
Oh.
so you gotta buy
Yeah,
it.
people will be like that. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Remake being re-announced. Pretty cool.
It looked good.
But again, we've seen that game's been around for 3 years.
Yeah,
We've
we
had
know it's coming.
Trailers. I've never really played any Final Fantasy, so I don't really care. But people are saying like the combat looks like it's watered down. It's not like the turn-based like it used to be. It's more like Final Fantasy
turn-based.
15. What is with Square Enix always trying to change the combat in Final Fantasy games? People love the combat in 7. Why not just remake it, but like with great graphics?
You know,
remake
Resident Evil 2 remake, dude. Like I know it's
Yeah,
not
but that's Capcom. This is
I know it's
Square
not
Enix.
Capcom.
They can't do shit, right?
Yeah, well, fair enough. But at the same time, like I'm glad that there wasn't a fixed perspective in Resident Evil 2, and I'm glad that you didn't have to aim around like an idiot like you had to in the
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
think-
until people play it, like you can't. Like maybe you did like Final Fantasy VII's like gameplay, but it's of its time.
But turn-based
I
combat
understand.
still works. Look
Yeah.
at Persona. Like it's really fast-paced, but it's still turn-based.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not action.
Look, maybe one of the episodes will be turn based.
And I think that is just lining it up for not failure, but bad reception. Like,
If
Yeah.
they're all like Square Enix sized, like they say they're not going to be like shorter games than their regular Square Enix games. If they release 3 Square Enix sized games of Final Fantasy VII, I think people could like initially people will be like, man, this sucks, but then they'll be like, oh my god, there's so much content. Like,
but people want the game just remade. Like, they're gonna finish part 1 and be like, well, I know where the story goes. I want to play part 2.
Yeah.
I want to play part 3. I just think it's insane. Like,
you buy each part separately as well. Like, how's that going to work? Are they going to milk it
that's
out?
A great
don't know.
question. Yeah,
what if all 3 parts are released at the same time? You're like, I'm going to start with part 3.
and they're
And
$60
go
each.
backwards.
Work backwards.
I don't know. Square Enix, I don't know what's going on at that studio, but what are they doing? And they said there's going to be more in June, which you'd assume is Square
Yeah.
Enix's press conference at E3. But why not just show it there? Why not just re-announce it there? Everyone's going to be watching it anyway. Talk about that. Talk about this Avengers game that they announced 2 years ago
Yeah.
that as no one has heard anything
Yeah,
since.
weird.
What is going on with Square Enix? Sort your shit out.
And you heard it here first on Spawn Respawn. Moving away from the terrible state of play that we find ourselves in, thank you, PlayStation. There was another game announcement, which is pretty juicy in my opinion. When I watched the trailer for it, I was like, I could get behind that. But don't let me ruin it. I'm going to hand over to Mitch, and Mitch might tell us a thing or two about... What's it called, Mitchie?
This one is Breakpoint. Ghost Recon, I should say. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Juicy.
this one's pretty much... Did anyone play Wildlands?
No.
No, but I heard some pretty good things about it.
Yeah, no, the game was fun. Like, absolutely loved Wildlands. And I didn't even, like, have intentions of getting it in the first place. I remember just being like... I think it was on PlayStation one day. Mate was like, oh, the demo's out. Want to grab it? I'm like, why not? Yeah, let's just grab Wildlands. And then from there on, I was instantly hooked into the game, just played it all the way through. Surprise. And yeah, no, it was a great time. So, but Breakpoint, though, is kind of going off the back of that. It's pretty much the company took all the feedback from Wildlands and was just like, right, what people want in Wildlands, we're just putting in Breakpoint itself. So, like, I guess I'll explain a few mechanics, sort of like, for instance, if your teammate goes down pretty much just like in a bad spot, you can pick them up, move their body into a better position, and then put them down.
Yeet 'em.
So then you can revive, sort of get them back
That's
up
cool.
from there.
Can you still stop, drop, and roll in Wildlands?
Can you
'Cause
what,
in
sorry?
Stop, drop, and roll. In Future Soldier, which is, I loved
I loved Future Soldier. Holy
if you
crap.
got set on fire, you could go prone and roll back and forth to put yourself out. Can you do that in Wildlands? It was such a cool
That's fire
mechanic.
safety right there.
It's so good.
Trying to think back, I don't remember that ever sort of really being a thing.
Oh,
like,
I hope you can. Can you go prone?
yes, you can
Yeah.
go prone.
I
Like,
would assume.
it's
that.
anything
You
like-
can roll, baby.
If it's like Metal Gear Solid 5 where you can like go prone and roll left and right. Hopefully.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, they're not related in any way. So
yeah, but there's a lot more from what I was seeing from the trailer and what I've seen from reading different articles and stuff like that. There's a lot more survivability sort of
I
aspects
heard
to
that,
it.
yeah.
So like,
yeah.
I loved it in the trailer and your character's running down the hill and the bullet's like whizzing straight past his head. Like the whole screen sort of like shakes and it shows like a bit of distortion and everything like that. I was like, oh yeah, that's my aesthetic.
I think there's
love
even
it.
like persistent injuries. So
There
if you
is.
get injured,
Absolutely there
that's an interesting little.
Because in that exact scene that Mitch was just talking about, when he got hit with the bullet, you could see him take the impact of it, but then
Wow.
be limping from that point on.
Yeah.
And then later on, it shows there's a system for being able to dig the bullets out of your body.
Oh my
You have to
God.
bandage yourself
Sick.
up.
Yeah.
Broken bones, things like that. How nuts is that?
It is amazing.
Yeah.
So
I might actually, look further into this.
please do, because it's gonna be. I have some high hopes for it.
Yeah.
Some articles that I sort of was looking into, they were more or less like, I should probably actually say which article that was. From Game Review, actually. Game Review was sort of saying about how they got their hands on playing it a little bit, so like I don't know if I'd call it a demo, but they got a chance to play it a bit. And they said it was promising, but also concerning.
Yeah, that's
Which-
always a great pitch.
Which I was like,
It's a great pitch there. I've got some promising but concerning review for you.
which I was kind of like, I haven't seen anything really negative about it.
Concerning in what way did they say?
They just said right at the end of the article, it was like, they're promising and concerning. Full stop. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
okay,
That's a
don't want to
teaser.
elaborate.
I
Sounds like a
Read between the lines.
unsubstantiated like opinion.
claim, yeah.
Potentially, yeah. There was some stuff about the game being like there's like a political standpoint or view from
This
them.
is what I heard as well. Like something about the fact that this is the first Tom Clancy game that's not set in a real place. And I think people are like annoyed because Wildlands was set in Bolivia, but it
Yes.
actually like the Bolivian government, I
Yeah.
think, got really annoyed because it painted Bolivia as this like narco state, and they like there was a lot of like frustration from that country because they don't want to be looked at that way.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, totally. And so they've gone, okay, let's create this fictional island or whatever it is. And now people are like annoyed that it's not in a real place. It's like, does that? I don't know if that really matters that much.
Apparently reminiscent New Zealand.
Yeah, which is wild. Yeah, it's very like the landscape is like New Zealand
Oh my
like
God.
apparently, which I think's sick. Like, what an awesome location to put a
Yeah.
video game.
I think it's more or less the storyline. Like the storyline revolves around like a technology company called Skell, which develops drones and stuff like that. Like obviously like war and like that. And you lose communication apparently with that company, and you kind of go to investigate. And when you get there, you're trying to be like sort of like the hunter, like you're trying to be Ghost, right? Trying to be this elite squad that ends up being hunted themselves.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah,
and I
so-
think that makes the survival side of things a
Absolutely.
little bit
Cool.
more.
The gameplay started off when you're like prone in the mud and you see
Yeah.
your character just like smears the mud all over himself.
Yeah.
Going full stealth. Oh,
I find
man.
it funny that he like covers himself in mud, but it's kind of like I didn't really see too much difference. He kind of like there's like a lump of like mud on his like left side, and it's kind of like he's just got this gun sticking out of the ground. I'm
Yeah.
like, where is he?
Yeah.
Everything
I also
seems normal.
I heard that. So if your say teammates get seen in the old games,
Yeah.
you get seen. It's kind of like
Which is
Well,
dumb.
yeah, pretty
It
much.
tre-
It's
yeah.
basically that was the same. That was in Wildlands. Pretty much.
Yeah.
If the alarm went off, it was just kind of like
Whereas in this, if one person gets spotted, the other people don't. So you can say use someone as a decoy while other people kind of sneak in.
yeah.
That's
That-
fantastic.
That's sick.
is cool.
I love that.
Because I hate like so much being caught out from something like that. Like even if you kill someone and they set off the alarm, right? Or like they see you first, you take them out and the alarm goes off and everyone knows
They know
to
where
the-
you are.
to the literal
Yes.
degree in terms of like your exact coordinates of where you are. Doesn't matter how well hidden you are or what's blocking you. Like they know where
see
you
you
is.
for a split second before you slice their throat, and they're like, "I got the alarm off though, and told them exactly where you are."
Your literal coordinates.
It was definitely a thing in Wildlands. I remember I would play it with a mate of mine. So whenever you would play it, the AI would go away and your mate would just come in and it could just be like just you two. And I always wanted to play it stealthily as best I can. So you take out as many of the guys as you could before you started going guns blazing. And if any little minor things like you like a sniper shot from a distance and it just misses the head and it like hits the thing, the whole base goes into like
Freak out mode.
freak out
Red
mode. It's
alert,
just like,
yeah.
oh man, I just need you to make the shot. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
but I don't get punished for that anymore.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. You could get someone who's like all armored up and has like a shotgun and an SMG or something to be like, I'm running in, I'm going in, start setting off alarms and getting like, killing people in like
Drawing them away.
Yeah, drawing everyone into you and then have everyone sneak around and get ready for your sync shots and stuff. I think that has
They
a
go
lot of
Arnold
potential.
Schwarzenegger with like a automatic like 20-round drum magazine,
Yeah.
like shotgun, just gunning everything.
I'm keen for that.
You can also actually pick up, which is cool. You can actually pick up enemy bodies. Not like it's the first time this has ever happened,
And build a fort.
but like
Skin fort.
dark,
Brutal.
definitely dark.
What can you
work
do
at
with their
Netherrealm?
bodies, Mitch?
You just move them, okay? Like that's it. Nothing
it?
else. You just move them so they don't get spotted.
Missed opportunity.
yeah, cool.
Because that was something that was in Wildlands. You take out an enemy and the body would just lay there. And you kind of like,
Oh, and you couldn't
well,
move them. Yeah.
I hope no one comes across this at all.
It's a full Splinter Cell throwback
Yikes.
from like
Fully.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Hide the bodies in the shadowy bits so they don't
Yeah.
spot them. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the like other mechanics that's brought into it as well. So classes as well. Actually, I should mention there's
Ooh, cool.
you in Wildlands. I keep referring back to Wildlands because it's kind of like
The
Follow on,
runs.
isn't it?
yeah, right.
yeah,
It is.
it's not
It
a-
is. Like
it's not a
taking on.
sequel, but-
Yeah, it's just taking on like from the feedback. So
Because in the trailer, it's like, we're not in Bolivia anymore. Like,
yes,
so
exactly.
real.
Yeah, no,
For
yeah,
real,
I'm pretty sure it
100%.
is the follow up to
Yes, that's what I was trying to
in
say.
New
It is the
Zealand now.
follow up.
Yeah.
And you like for your character, you customize them as much as you want. Like I always made my guy like you could like have him like camo gear. No, I just went like vest, no sleeves, tattooed up, like short hair, just like least amount of like tactical gear on me. And I was just like, I have no purpose of being like army at all. I'm going in here as a mercenary. I'm just doing whatever I want. And as much as I know so far, what they've sort of elaborated on was just classes. So you can kind of have like certain classes, certain weapons. You'll have certain weapons for those classes.
That sounds like Future Soldier as well, which that
Yeah.
makes me so excited.
Please.
I love the scout class in Future Soldier, how you can have like a sniper and an SMG. It was just the ultimate. I
Like
love
all rounder kind of
It
thing.
was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Very long
Yeah.
distance.
And I
you got your
remember-
medium to close. Yeah.
Yeah, I got up to like level 30 with the scout, and you unlock the infrared scope for
Yeah.
your SMG. It was the most. I love that game.
It was such a great game.
That was amazing. So underrated. So
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't agree more with you.
I
What
love
was
that?
that? Future Warfighter?
Future
Soldier.
Soldier. No, it was the one after Advanced Warfighter 2.
Oh, right.
There was a
Advanced
few of them.
It was so
There was
sick.
a fair few of them.
Was,
so
was that one set in Mexico? Is that right?
yes, it was actually.
Mexico.
Or one of them was. One of
And
them
again,
was
they had the
Future
same
Soldier.
thing that where the Mexican government was just like, stop painting us as a narco state. Essentially, wherever they set their games, they piss off the local government.
I think Future Soldier in the campaign was all over the world. Like you did
Yeah.
different missions in different
Oh,
countries. So I don't. That probably.
I think it was Advanced
probably,
Warfighter that might have had
Yeah.
that controversy then.
Yeah.
Like I said, one of them was in Mexico. So I know that
I think
for
it
a
might have
fact.
been Warfighter 2.
Know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I was
But
close.
yeah.
Is there a release date announced for Breakpoint?
Yes, there is. We're looking at currently October.
Oh my god, there's so many games coming out now.
The 4th.
Like
The
in-
4th. October the 4th. Sorry, I should mention.
Cool.
We are. It's begun.
Yep.
All the
The
announcements.
onslaught has
Yeah.
I do thoroughly enjoy though, and I did pronounce them first when I saw the actor that is going to be the main antagonist, the enemy, sort of in the game itself. I referred to him as his character from Punisher, Frank Castle. I was like, oh, it's Frank Castle. I was like, hang on a second, that's not his name. John. I always pronounce his last name wrong. Brenthal, I think it was.
Barenthal.
There we go.
John Barenthal.
Is he from Wildlands?
No,
Is
he's
that
not.
character from what?
No, it is.
He's in the Punisher show, and he's in The Walking Dead, and he's
Yeah,
But
yeah.
his character that he plays is from like a different like Ghost Recon game, and
Oh, a
he is
different
a
Ghost Recon.
He is a ghost. Like
Okay,
he's an
so-
ex-ghost.
yeah, that's
yes,
right, yeah.
Are
absolutely.
you saying that he was in that game? He voiced that character, or is
No,
it
no,
just
no, no.
the-
His
The
character.
character
the
was in
same
the game.
character, right?
Like,
okay.
But not from Wildlands.
not
from
from
a different
Wildlands,
one.
No. So he's the character he's playing is an ex-ghost like operative.
Cool.
Right.
So because it says at the end of the trailer, if you watch the like cinematic trailer, takes his helmet off and everything like that, and it's just like John, and it's just like, oh, that's so cool. And he's like, your character saying, this is how we ghost work and how we perform. So we're going to give it our best. And then like cuts to John, and John's like, I was a ghost. I wouldn't expect anything less from you guys.
Right. So here's the thing, though. John Barenthal is like literally killing it right now.
He's such a
He's
badass.
showing up everywhere, and like I like him as an actor. Like, and he can obviously do stunts and stuff like that. But it's cool to see him appear in video games as well.
Sick.
I don't know, when you like an actor and you just see them pop up everywhere, you're kind of like, good on you, dude.
Yeah.
Good on you, dude.
Good on you, bud.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Oh, nice.
Well, that's actually sounds way more exciting than I thought. I would need to go and watch the trailer.
Breakpoint is going to be lit, fam. I want everyone on board.
Go play it on the Uplay store.
Well, we could all play on PlayStation together.
Well, I mean, that's
could.
where it is going to be. You can only
player.
play it from Uplay.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, you
By
can buy it from-
October, we could be having video content. Who knows?
I hope so.
Anything could happen. That's it. Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
Gang.
Oh, man.
Good
Well, I
stuff.
guess that brings us to a close on the 6th episode of Spawn Respawn.
Beautiful.
We are killing it right now. Beautiful. But yeah, no, that looks like I'm glad that we're actually getting some news up in this.
Yeah.
We're also seeing some game releases coming up soon. So hey, it's good times. Good times are going to keep rolling.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Well, that's it for our 6th episode of Spawn Respawn. My name is Dylan Smith. I'm joined by Elliot Porter,
Thank you.
Mitchell Barnsley, and Kat Jerritson.
Does me.
Follow us on Twitter at Spawn Respawn PC. Check it out.
Be fresh. Did you guys want to do your little plugs?
Sure. At Direct Gaming on Twitter and YouTube. Video out for Katana Zero. Go watch it.
And you can find me at Mitchell Bunzels. I can never get mine right because I've got to really change that. But
We can just put a little link on
Mitchell
in
Bunzel
yeah,
Bunzels
just
too.
put the
as
link.
well.
'Cause
I think it's
honestly,
in the link
if
dump.
I try and say it every time, it's just gonna be confusing for everyone.
Mitchell Bunzel too.
Find the link is below. There you go.
Link
And Kat?
below. And for me, CapCat pretty much everywhere. That's KAPKAT.
So
That's
much
it.
easiar.
Nice.
So much
Beautiful.
easier.
Nice and short and sweet.
All right. Well, that's all from us.
Thanks for having us.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye, fam.
Bye.